let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about a few romance book tropes that I absolutely adore. Today I'm going to talk about 3. For each trope I have about 3 recommendations, and I'm so excited to talk about this because these are some of my favorite tropes ever, and all of these books were just so enjoyable. So let's get into it. Let's talk about 3 amazing tropes today. The first one is billionaire. This one for obvious reasons. There's just something about a man taking care of a woman for no good reason at all. Love it, eat it up every time. The first book that I want to talk about is Beauty and the Billionaire by Jessica Clare. The book follows Gretchen and Hunter. Hunter is a scarred billionaire. He is scarred before the book even begins, and so he's kind of a recluse. He ends up seeing Gretchen. He's like doing a tour of his house for some reason, and he decides like, I have to have her, I want her. So he decides to hire her to kind of like transcribe some letters in his home and turn it into a book. And she accepts a job offer. She's very interested by him because he's a recluse. He's very insecure about his scarring, and it has one of my other favorite tropes, which is the inexperienced hero. So she is more experienced than he is, like romantically. It eats in this book. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I don't know if I said that already, but anything that is that type of retelling, I'm gonna pick it up. Okay, the next book is The Contract by Melanie Moreland. This book follows Catherine and Richard. It is a workplace romance. Richard is a billionaire who kind of needs to clean up his act, and Catherine, I believe she is his PA. It's a fake dating, by the way. He decides to like recruit her for fake dating so that way he can show people that he's like capable of settling down. I love this because Catherine's she's coming from very humble beginnings, so she really needs the money. And they come up with this contract where she's gonna get paid to be like his fake fiance or whatever. You know, obviously throughout the book they start to develop these feelings, and there's like all this drama, and there's these secrets because they're like fake dating for people, but it's like turning into something real. And I adore this book. I totally recommend the whole series. I binged it all in like a day and a half. Totally recommend that you check it out if you like fake dating, workplace romance with the billionaire hero. The next book is Tempt Me by Nina West. This book did some things to me. This book follows Henry and Abby. Abby finds out that her boyfriend of like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years or something is cheating on her. This is like, she's in college. This happens like in the very beginning of the book in the synopsis, so it's not like a spoiler or anything. So she decides to have herself a little hot girl summer, and she takes an internship in Alaska where she meets Henry. Henry is like the owner of like this resort that she's working at, and he's like a billionaire. This book, it had like a lot of different elements to it. I believe there's a small age gap. I don't think it's more than like 5 to 7 years, something like that. It's workplace romance. There's cheating involved because obviously she finds out that her boyfriend is cheating on her, but this little section is going to be spoilers, so if you don't want to hear this part, skip over it. There's a miscommunication trope, and she cheats on our hero in the book. Now, before you click out, before you're saying, oh, I don't want to read it, here's the thing. I don't believe women can do wrong. So, I just overlooked it. It added this crazy amount of drama that I was not expecting, and obviously, I don't condone cheating in real life. I hate it. I despise it. It's disgusting. It's heartbreaking. But in this book, it added a lot of drama. A lot of it. It's so good. It's so crazy. There's a lot of different elements that come in the further books. I definitely recommend that you check out this series for sure. Next trope that we're going to get into is single parents. I love this trope. The first book that we're going to talk about is To Hate Adam Connor by Ella Mays. This book follows Adam, Lucy, and Aiden, which is Adam's son. First of all, this book is hilarious. If you love romances, like a true rom-com with spice, this is the book for you. So Adam is, I believe, like a Hollywood actor, and he's a single dad. He's just, you know, trying to really navigate single parenthood. Him and his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife or whatever split up. Lucy is going through a breakup, so she moves in with her best friend and her best friend's fiance or something like that. And they live next door to Adam and his son, and so she's like, oh, let me like peek over, see what they look like. And so she's like stalking them basically, and she sees that Adam's son Aiden falls into the pool. She like rescues him, whatever. Adam is like, you're trespassing, and sends her to the slammer, sends her to jail. And so there's like this enemies to lovers element because she's pissed off. She's like, I saved your kid and I went to jail for it. Are you kidding? This book was amazing. Aiden, the son, is adorable. She kind of becomes his nanny. It's a beautiful book. I totally recommend that you check it out. The next book that we're going to talk about is Rafe by Rebecca Witherspoon. I love this book. This book follows Rafe and Sloane. Sloane is our badass heroine who is a doctor, and she's very young. She's black. She's like killing it in this world. Rafe is our hero, and it's an interracial like relationship. So he's white. He's like this big buff burly man with tattoos and a beard, and he's the nanny. She hires him as the nanny, and he absolutely adores her kids. There's a little bit of drama, but it's not too much. This is like a pretty low effort book that I would recommend to people if you don't want like tons and tons and tons of drama and like tons and tons of angst. I definitely recommend this one. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's funny, it's adorable. Recommend that you check it out. Next book that I have for this trope is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This book follows Rhodes and Aurora. Aurora moved away from this small town, and she moves back because she's kind of going through like this breakup issue thing with her boyfriend, or he's like her husband, but they're not like legally married, whatever that. She decides to go back to this small town that she grew up in for a little bit when she was a kid, but her mom went missing in this town, and so she left obviously, and now she's back to kind of try to reconnect with her roots, and she decides to rent an apartment from Rhodes, except Rhodes' son decides to rent out this apartment, and he's like a teenager, so this is like a bit of an older aged couple, which I really enjoy because they're not super immature or anything. It's slow burn, single parent, small town. There's like overcoming grief and learning how to deal with grief. I definitely recommend that you check out trigger warnings for this book and for all of them, obviously, because it does cover topics like grief and things like that. I love the single parent aspect because the kid's older, and so he's not like a little immature kid, he's like a teenager, and so she's like connecting with his kid and like connecting with him, and they love her and she loves him and she loves them, and it's just it works. The last trope that I'm going to talk about in this video is royal romances. There's just something about becoming a princess and getting swept off your feet by a prince or a king that I absolutely adore. The first book that we're going to talk about is Royally Screwed by Emma Chase. This book follows Nicholas and Olivia, and he is a prince. I believe he's just kind of trying to get away from his life for a little bit, so he goes to New York City, and she is a waitress, and you know, she's humble, she's trying to make ends meet. They have a bit of an altercation, and she ends up throwing a pie in his face, not realizing that he's a prince. You know, he's like intrigued by her because he's like, ooh, she's spicy, she's got a little bit of an attitude, I like that. And they end up hanging out and becoming, you know, a little something. I love this book. The heroine is definitely not a pushover, and I just love that he is like obsessed with her, and he's gonna pick her every single time. Totally recommend this book. The next book I recommend for this trope is A Nordic King by Karina Halley. I once again ate this book up. This follows King Axel and Aurora. I haven't read this book in a really long time, but I do know that he is the king of Denmark who loses his wife, and so he is looking for a nanny for his kids. When he instantly sees our heroine, he's like, no, she can't be it, because he like knows that he's attracted to her. She ends up being the best fit for the job, so he hires her, but he's like, there has to be boundaries. And of course, those boundaries get intertwined. Obviously, it's single parent. They're kind of sneaking around because they don't want to really, you know, say anything to the kids yet. I believe there's like a small age gap. I'm not too sure. It's been a while since I read this, and there's like some drama with I believe like the paparazzi and like this relationship getting exposed. Had a lot of angst, but you know, it was still very sweet and romantic, and the kids were adorable, and I loved it. And the very last book that I'm going to recommend for this video is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. The book follows Alex and Henry. Alex is the first son of the United States, and Henry is the Prince of England. And of course, they're sneaking around because this is like a high profile, relationship. And this is like enemies to lovers, kind of. It's kind of like a one-sided enemies kind of thing, which is annoying, but it works in this book. Alex is kind of trying to figure out that if he's bisexual, and Henry is gay. So this is a male-male romance. It's so good. It's so sweet. Like, it just tugs on your heartstrings, and like the sneaking around and the kisses and the cuddles, and it works. And because this is like a secret relationship, no one can find out about it. It's so angsty, and the tension is just building throughout the entire book. I totally recommend that you check it out if you love angsty royal romances. Okay, that is everything that I have to recommend for this video. If you were interested in different tropes, let me know. I have a million books that I want to talk about. I love romance books. I love the tropes, and I also love thrillers. So if you want maybe a thriller trope recommendation, I can see if I can pull something together. I hope that you check some of these books out, and if you do, please let me know. Please subscribe, comment down below, like, and thank you for watching. Bye.